Our guest is building the next generation of BIPOC STEM leaders by supporting students' fundamental learning in math. Get ready for a stimulating conversation on the Startup Life Live Show. Let's glow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4-time founder and startup champion to first-time founders around the world. And during these empowering conversations with diverse founders, I love sharing the Ande-licious advice. And this is a lot of core startup business tips, tools, and resources that you need to succeed, but it's all delivered with high enthusiasm, inspiration, and joy, because come on, we got to laugh and have fun while we're building our businesses. Thank you for carving out time to tune in and up your founder game while cheering on a fellow founder. And for those of you who are watching live now or via replay, please like the video and be sure, those of you on YouTube, to like the video and subscribe while you're there. Really supports the show. Your like on all the videos support the show because it gets out there and reaches more folks. And what we're going to be talking about today, more folks need to know about, right? I am so excited to introduce you to our phenomenal female founder guest, Jessica Sanon. And Jessica is passionate about supporting and building economic mobility and capacity for marginalized communities. And that's why she founded, wait to see this, Systemic Flow. Come on, this is an amazing social-driven organization aiming to advance STEM learning for women who identify as BIPOC. And Jessica has developed and implemented this inclusive programming that holistically tackles the retention of BIPOC women in STEM by bridging the educational and workforce gap within the industry. We are going to have, as I said earlier, a stimulating conversation with this phenomenal founder. Let's welcome her to the show, Jessica Sanon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so everyone, I had the good fortune to hurl with Jessica. You know what that means? That means hang out in real life. Jessica applied and was chosen to pitch at the monthly pitch event that I co-host. And look at us right here. Oh my gosh. Don't you miss hanging out in person, Jessica?
Oh my gosh, I do. It's a beautiful event getting to meet you and Ande.
Oh, Ande Jack, folks, it's my co-host. It's called Founders Live Boston. We would meet on the 20th floor of 50 Milk Street in downtown Boston. And gosh, we'd have such a good time because it was a happy hour pitch event. and founders like Jessica would get up in front of the room and have 99 seconds to pitch their business. And Jessica was outstanding. And I just miss all of that in-life interaction. How about you, Jessica?
Oh my gosh, I do. I think back and I'm like, how was I able to pitch Systemic Flow in 99 seconds, But definitely missing the community, missing people interacting and networking. So much synergy in the room. I definitely miss that.
That's right. And let's just say a quick hi to one of my favorite founders out there, Mia Voss. She's a mouthy activist and blogger, brand ambassador, podcast host of Shit We Don't Talk About. And I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. Anything you're doing, hop onto Spotify and listen and tune into the conversations Mia is having with phenomenal folks. And hey, let me guess, is this a relative?
It's my sister.
Janelle! Hey, family support is key when you're live and you're going out there. A lot of times too, when the family shows up, Jessica, they're finally like really understanding, even on a deeper level. They may have been supporting you and yay, and you glow goddess, but now they're like, I've seen it so many times. So thanks, Janelle, for tuning in. And if folks, I've got to remind you about this one thing that we like to do here on the Startup Life Live Show. Amplify your brand. Share your business name, one-liner, because sometimes the business name does not tell us what you're doing, and your website URL in the comments. And we will bring it up just like this into the live show and celebrate you for everything that you're doing, your wonderful work in the world. So I want to remind everybody who has a business to please share it so we can applaud you and get out the clappers and go, what? You're amazing. And also, if you want to share in the comment threads, where you're hanging out today, we always love to know, and wave. We're here waiting for the icebergs to melt in the Boston area. This week, we're looking for hopefully 50 degrees, which would be great. And so, and right now we're also streaming live across LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube. So, you get audiences from different places when you go live on StreamYard. It's a lot of fun. Thank you. Aw, you got this, Jessica. Sisters. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So let's dive in, Jessica, because, you have been at this since, when did you launch Systemic Flow?
2017.
2017. And had you ever done an entrepreneurial adventure before?
Nope, that was my first time.
Oh my gosh. And were you on payroll somewhere when you came up with this idea? No.
No, not at all. It came from, I did the Heller Startup Pitch Competition at Brandeis University.
Got it.
That's how it all started.
And what is that? The Heller?
So let me back up. So
yeah.
2-year service as a Commonwealth Core member, and I wanted to learn more about the nonprofit sector. And through that opportunity, I was able to apply for grad school at the Heller School at Brandeis University, and I got my MBA in nonprofit management. And so in my head, I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's business school. I need to think about starting a business. And literally in my personal statement, I talked about systemic flow. Lo and behold, I get into, grad school, and I realize that's not the key. But every year, the Heller School does a startup pitch competition where folks in the MBA program or in the sustainable program can apply. And it's through like a weekend where you come together with a team of at least 4 people, and then you pitch your idea. You have about 3 minutes to do that. When I pitch, actually, Bobby Carlton was one of my judges, as well as Caroline from the Heller School. So I was able to really start systemic flow through that.
Hey, and folks, the reason I go like this about Bobby Carlton, she is the founder of Mass Innovation Nights, which is a phenomenal, she's had 100 and plus over the years. Plus, any of you female speakers, go check out her Innovation Women platform. She really helps more women. Well, she's really all about dissolving manels and getting more women on panels. But Bobby Carlton is a friend and fave in the startup community here in Boston on how she has supported our community in a big way. So I love that she was able to give you feedback with your idea. So, and I always ask about that payroll, because a lot of times, and we see this a lot at our pitch event, the experts are always going, so what's the matter with you launching a business, right? There's a lot involved. And especially if you're in a nice, secure position at a corporation, what makes people jump out of the ship and go for broke, really, when you're trying to pull all this together. What made social challenges so important to you? So it's not just launching a business for you, it was also helping this society out with what you wanted to do.
So really it came from my experience as someone who love math. So Systemic Flow aims to bridge the gap between STEM education and math literacy, as Andy mentioned. And when I was a kid, math was my universal language. There was something about math when I just did it on pieces of paper or on, the whiteboard, it just flowed out of me. And so I was that math geek, straight A student. I even went to college for my math degree. And I was valedictorian of my high school. But then when I jumped from high school to college, I was failing out of my math classes. And I'm
wait. Now, you love numbers, you love math, you love the problem solving involved that math gives you, right? It gives you formulas so that you can figure some pretty difficult, complicated things out. You did great. You had this whole lived experience of like, yep, I'm a smarty pants. I got this. This is my groove. You got to college. What happened?
To be quite honest, Andy, I have no idea. I was going to classes and just couldn't really understand why I couldn't understand what was being taught in the schools, right? And then over time, I realized that I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't come into college with, the rigorous math courses behind my back, like calculus. I was going to a predominantly white institution. And on top of that, my classmates and my peers were mainly white men. And so subconsciously, I'm like, wow, there's all these factors that really hindered my progress to really obtain my STEM degree. And to be honest, if I didn't enroll in student organizations, or if I didn't have my mentors to push me along the way, I probably would not be here right now as a systemic flow. And so I don't want any other women to go through the same process as me. If there is a way where we can go back to high school, where we can go back to the middle school and encourage beyond the classroom setting why STEM is so important, then why not? And so that really birthed systemic flow, where, like, again, looking beyond the classroom, having students teach each other math, and then also bringing in that mentorship piece so they can kind of hear those stories of obstacles that other women face and how they overcame it.
Right. Representation is, of course, as we know, so important. But what I love is that that when you know something well enough, you can teach it, and that makes it even more cemented in your head. But also, when you got to college, you realized that you loved math, but you hadn't been educated at the same level that the folks that were in your class. So it wasn't like you couldn't do it. They just came in from, they were on third base already, basically, and you were still, waiting to maybe on first. And I can only imagine how disconcerting and discouraging that must have been, Jessica. So look, I got to just say, the fact that you had some mentors and that you powered through that is so important. And I'm so grateful. And I love that lived experience became your North Star.
Yes.
Yeah. So to have this passion and folks, when you are launching a business, you got to have the passion for what you're doing, because you're going to have some really bad days. And when you're having those bad days, you've got to go and review, why am I doing this again? Oh yeah. In Jessica's case, I want girls to really get confident in their math skills, right? And prepare.
Yeah. And I wouldn't just say bad days. I don't think I've ever had a bad day with systemic flow. I've had long days. And so if you can bear, staying up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning to work on something that you're passionate about, knowing that it can ultimately shift the culture and dynamic of our society, then that will definitely drive you to continue to push forward with your business.
See, I love that clarification, everybody. Thank you for that, Jessica, because when you are excited about what you're doing and you have the big picture in mind, it becomes a long day, not a bad day.
Yep.
I love that from the fierce. That's terrific. I just want to say hi to Theodore in Phoenix. Hi, Ted. How's it going? Well, I'm glad you're going to get rain later this week. That's wonderful. I'm still jealous over all the wonderful weather you're having down there, though. And hi, Hans. Facts. Absolutely. Ooh, here we go. We love testimonials. Jessica is a profound leader. So proud of her. There is a desperate need in our community for STEM representation. Who is this wonderful man?
That is my cousin, founder of Eden. He's actually part of E4All, the E4All Accelerator program that I was recently a part of as well.
So he's part of the Roxbury E4All?
Yes,
oh my gosh. And how do you say his name? I don't want to ruin it. Jehu, just like it looks. Jehu, thank you for swinging by and sharing this wonderful testimonial. And congratulations that you're in the E4All Roxbury Accelerator program. Folks, there's an incredible accelerator program that's out there that's for free called E4All. EFORALL.org. Go visit it. They do phenomenal. It's a 12-week program where you learn, you start off, and you just are helped all along the way. When did you go through the West Roxbury Accelerator? The Roxbury Accelerator.
I went through it in January 2020 and throughout the start of the pandemic. So it was a very different experience, but a great one.
Yeah, each founder gets 3 mentors, folks. So you get a lot of help and support. And then and you meet 90 minutes a week. And then after the 12-week program, you meet once a month with these mentors for another 9 months. So people are really helping you succeed. So congratulations, Jehu. And look, if you want to put your business name, one-liner, and URL into the comment section, please do. And we'll bring it up on the screen and celebrate it. You never know who's watching, who might want to know more about your business. And Christina, glad you were also powered through that. Thank you for continuing to follow your passion and being an inspiration.
Oh, I love Christina. Hey, girl.
Hey, thank you, Christina. That is so wonderful. And, it's folks in our sphere that come through with incredible comments like that also help us feel nurtured, right, through this process. Now, so you launched Systemic. You're very clear about how you want to serve the world. But you still had to do what we all have to do, which is you had to prove your value proposition. And, I'm all about this moment in a business's life cycle, everybody. It's right in the beginning. And a lot of founders think, oh, I've got this great idea and I'm really passionate about it. And I know everybody's going to want me to solve this problem my way. But that is not always so. So I love to ask the founders, how did you... because it's so important to prove your value prop. So share with everybody what that process was like for you.
Oh my goodness, Ande, like that process was a nightmare. It was beautiful, but it was a nightmare. It took a whole lot of mentors and partners and friends to say, Jessica, you need to just take a step back. I understand you want to solve the world, but you can't do it tomorrow. Let's figure out the process first. But it was really difficult, right? In the beginning, for Systemic Flow, we were thinking very small, right? We were like, we're going to be a Boston-owned business. We're only going to partner with Boston schools. We're going to go out literally, Ande, for I don't know how long. I did a whole lot of outreach, word of mouth, going to schools, knocking on doors, handing flyers and pamphlets, just to get students into our program. And thankfully, again, for E4All and with my mentors, I was able to switch my mindset. And I'm like, you need to think bigger. Why not, instead of working with customers, right? You're working with businesses and schools partners and looking at that. And so because of that, thinking large and thinking big, we're like, wow, this problem of connecting math education in STEM is relatively big within schools. If you look at math tests, right, and schools needing to be funded based on, how well they're progressing within their math education or their English scores or whatever the case may be. And so we're able to go back to schools and say, listen, our program has a curriculum designed that really enhances and supplements students' learning. It is a college level curriculum. Why not hire us or bring us in to host a program that can bring students up to speed? And not only that, I'm like, not only that, but we're eliminating the barriers of calculators, something as simple as that, of getting students calculators for that.
That's huge, because calculators, right? Tons of money.
It's a lot of money, and you need to actually know how to program once you're in college. So why not? And then on top of that, again, there was a lack of mentorship. We recently started doing My STEM Story events where folks would come in and talk about their career and college journey in STEM. And a lot of our partners and a lot of schools and a lot of students are like, we need to hear more. We don't know what kinds of career opportunities are there besides or beyond like being a scientist or a mathematician or what have you. And so to have that kind of bridge, and then again with to have that kind of bridge, and then on top of that, provide internship opportunities for students, right? Because we want to provide a 360 view of what STEM actually is outside of school. Thank you, Ande, for that. So if you look at our holistic approach, which really adds to our value proposition, a lot of the people who are currently doing STEM stuff are only focused on the academic preparation for students. Right? They're not there for the industry experience or the professional engagement. And that's what we're aiming to do, so we can retain students beyond their first and second year of college. Because in fact,
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Because in fact, it's that transition year that we have to take account of, right? When students graduate from high school and going into college, that is where the retention decreases. And that's where we really need to focus in terms of supplementing their knowledge and helping them bridge that gap from the time that they go into their specific STEM degree.
I love this on so many levels. First of all, how discouraging is it when you do have a love of a subject like you did, you get into a classroom and people are so far ahead of you, you want to go, I think I'm going to go take a major in psychology. You're going to switch because you haven't had the preparation. You haven't seen how this is used. You haven't put it into context. So with what you're doing here in this wonderful 360 view is not only are you preparing them for college, because that's a reality, you're also showing them people in the industry who took a path that they're sharing and sharing how they got where they got. And then you've got the professional engagement. So now they're in the profession. And you've got people saying, this is important to us, that we onboard people with these skills. And we love that your brain just goes to STEM and goes to math and goes, give me more. Yeah. Now you enter the college scene. And even though you might be not as prepared, you're still understanding the bigger picture where you need to go and you can dig in. But also, do you talk about the fact that sometimes, no matter how prepared you are, you're still perhaps not on the same level playing field as folks who went to private schools or Catholic schools, things like that?
I will say, Ande, I went to a private school. I went to a small private school, which I loved. So that in itself isn't the issue, right?
That's a mythology. Good.
People have that stigma of, I went to a private institution. Yeah, I'm about it. But then when you get into college, it's really not. So we have to think about the access to resources that these schools have, right, in order to really get everyone on that same playing field.
Right. And so bringing it back to the value proposition, the beauty of, how long did it take you to get, have schools say, come on in, teach a program? Because I'm sure that gave you a lot of data. Yes.
It took about a year. When we started up for Systemic Flow, we really had to do a lot of customer research. And not only that, but I participated in another accelerator program, the Fairmont Innovation Lab. And so I took some time off to develop the business even more. And then I did a couple of months again of outreach and stuff like that for schools. And through that process, I think we partnered with 3 schools so far. I realized for Systemic Flow, in terms of data and what folks are looking for, especially because of the pandemic, it's really hard to do that value proposition that we talked about in terms of the academic preparation and that mentorship piece, because all of the students are so focused on, I just need to pass my class. I really want to see these speakers. I want to see these mentors, but I am tired from having to be on Zoom all day.
Sure.
We're at a point where they're trying to figure out what to weigh the pros and cons. But through that, we also realized that it's easier to access students through charter schools. And then another thing is, in terms of who we need to speak to become advocates for Systemic Flow, it's either guidance counselors or the math teachers and even science teachers. And so directly going to principals really didn't make our case. It was more of, we need to find 1 or 2 advocates in the school to then host this program.
Excellent. And folks, you can transfer this to whatever business you're doing. Okay. First of all, Jessica kept going into accelerator programs. Trust me, you never lose by doing that. You get so much great information. You have to work a little hard sometimes through the application process to get picked up, but do them. It ups your founder game. There is no preparation for this role as founder. And the more people that can advise you and help you work through these questions, it's always asking the good questions. And that's what Jessica was able to realize through this process of finding the value prop, was where to go, what we call the customer segment, as well as the distribution channel to that customer. So initially she was going to the principal and she said, nope, we got to go find people who are fiercely passionate about helping the students. And that's going to be the teachers. Yeah. And so congratulations on getting through that. And so did you start getting some feedback that helped you?
Yes. One thing for starters is trying to identify, there's a couple. So one is what we have to really focus on is our curriculum. A lot of the principals would reach out and say, we love your curriculum. Can we use this? And we're actually currently working with a university to verify that our curriculum is top notch, which I'm really excited for. And I say this because one of the things that could potentially happen for Systemic Flow is being one of those, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a supplement class that students have to take, like an internship class potentially, where it's already embedded in their school curriculum. So we don't have to think about, having to operate after school. But another thing is, while we were doing systemic flow, realizing that doing this program right after school and not giving students a break in between really hurt in terms of making sure students were actually attending the classes. Or like the two things that we were able to figure out. So I'm super excited.
I get, this is why I love being a host of a Startup Live show. Is I get off the show and I'm like, oh my God, that's systemic flow. It's so exciting. It is so exciting to hear the stories, even though you've struggled and you've had some setbacks. Setbacks don't have to stop you. Anytime you're pursuing a dream, you're going to have adversity. You're going to have really big challenges to overcome, but it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're figuring it out. So let's say, I just want to say hi to Tyler. Hey, Tyler, thanks for tuning in. I use StreamYard, and I like StreamYard because A, it's easy. B, I can brand it with all my goodies, all my Andeliciousness, and it's stable, and it has a really fun dashboard, so I can bring up slides and very easily, no screen sharing. I can bring up videos. So anyway, and it goes to all these platforms, so I can have a greater reach. Jessica can get more exposure for her businesses as well as other guests. And hey, Marie Jean, good job, Jessica.
That is my mother. I love it.
We love that. Thank you, Mom. Oh, come on. This is great. I'm just so feeling the passion. But along the way, Jessica, you had to fund this business. How'd that work out for you?
It's still going, Ande. It is still going. Honestly, in the beginning, for the first year or two, it was mainly through pitch competitions. I loved going to pitch competitions for the network, but I also loved it because there was free money. Like, why not?
And free advice from people who really know what they're doing.
And so recently, again, just circling back, because I think to your point of accelerator programs, E4All created a listserv for alumni. And so now I'm getting, email notifications of this kind of grant or sponsorship that I've never had before. And I say this because we decided to have Systemic Flow as a for-profit organization. And so I would, when I would do my research, and I'm like, okay, we're not a 501c3. Oh, we're not an education institution yet. But they're able to provide us this. So it's been through a lot of, are there sponsors out there? Are there banks out there? Recently, through a pitch competition, we found one of the judges in Rhode Island who was willing to just sponsor our program. So it's through individual donations, but then I also contribute on a monthly basis, stuff that would really help keep the overhead costs. And again, I'm going to mention this because, I think the value of Systemic Flow, I know the value of Systemic Flow is through community engagement and community partnerships. And we've been able to partner with Bunker Hill Community College, their Learn and Earn program, to provide us interns for a semester. So that kind of helped weigh the cost of, running specific programming as well.
And Jessica brought up a really good point, folks. You don't have to be a nonprofit to get grant money. And grant money is a delicious way, what we call non-dilutive capital, because, who are you? They'll come up with considerations for why people wouldn't want to give you money. Apply. A lot of it's boilerplate. So you're plugging in the same information once you create it and tailoring it for that grant application. But that's money that could come in. And sometimes $5,000, $25,000, $50,000. It doesn't take much to give you enough oxygen, because you're a lean machine, right, everybody? And I know Jessica is, to get to the next level. And what this does, folks, is this level of bootstrapping is going to help you build a more valuable business, so that when Jessica's ready to take this across America, then investors are going to come in, and they're going to come in at a valuation that is much better for Jessica and her business, allowing her to keep more ownership of her equity and, be that powerful female. So just a plug for that. And so what are some of the things that you're doing to, alert everybody and keep that community growing?
Yes. In terms of Systemic Flow, like what?
Yeah.
We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. as I mentioned, we started a My STEM Story kind of series event where we're highlighting BIPOC women in STEM who are coming to talk about their experiences. We have one coming up next week for those who are interested in attending. And just so I can just scale back really quick. Actually, no, I'll talk about this later.
Bring it on, bring it all on. I'm just going to tell everybody, I want to pop in the link to the March 17th event. I'm going to put it in. It'll be in the show notes, everybody, but I'm going to pop it into the comment thread right now so you can register.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention in terms of like setbacks and hurdles, something that I think, you know, I stalled on, I took a long time on is, you know, when you think you don't have a customer base, it's hard to put on events, right? It's like, who's going to come to this event for Systemic Flow when we were simply new? We had 5 people who signed up in our newsletter. And we didn't have a social media account for personal reasons and whatever the case may be. But I'm letting people know right now that, you know, if you have something to say, if there's something that you have that you want off your chest, if there's something that you're doing that's great and you could do an event or you want to be known, I think it's okay to be able to do these kinds of series of events at an earlier stage in your business than what I've done, waiting 3 years to develop a customer base to then do it. I think it should be the other way around. And that's when you'll create like those organic followers or authentic relationships with your audience.
Oh my gosh. You know, that's bringing on some goosebumps for me. And of course, one of my Andelicious moments, everybody. And the reason is that Jessica learned a wonderful lesson that she just shared with you that is so important, which is, you know, you can start building your brand ambassadors, your rock star followers, people who are passionate about you and what you're trying to create in the world sooner. You don't need to wait till things are all perfect and in place. You can start because these events, right? You learn from each one that you do, right? And, you know, had you started earlier, you would have been learning some more, you know, pieces of information. I understand it can be scary when you're trying to put your shingle out there and put the word out. But again, we can't come up with considerations ourselves for other people, right? There are people who are going to go, you're doing what? I love that.
Yep.
And they get passionate about what you're doing. So now let's talk a little bit about the business model, because as you're building this business, you have to monetize it so that it'll become profitable and sustainable. So how do you bring in money through sponsors, advocates? How does that work?
So other things that we're doing, Andy, we recently launched an online Math Institute program back in June to supplement students learning beyond calculus. One of the things we also recognize and realize with developing a Systemic Flow in the programs that we have is we have to kind of change people's mindsets, but what the end goal is when they graduate from high school. Right now, students have to take 3 to 4 years of math, and in their mind, right, if they're taking pre-calculus as a senior, then why do I need to take another calculus rigorous math course beforehand? And so there's like a shift that we have to do. But in order for us to do that shift, we have to then supplement students learning what they're already taking in classes. Hence why we provided this online Math Institute where we're doing a variety of math topics from elementary level school math to Algebra 1 in middle school up until geometry. And so that we're hoping that can be kind of our streamline, our bottom line to kind of support more of our programs.
And do you have to reach do you have to sell to the parents for them to pay for it? Or do you get the kids excited and they go to mom, dad, whoever is bringing them up?
Yeah, so yes, parents, we have to get them on board. We're working with other organizations and community partners to help supplement some of those sponsorships. We're currently running a crowdfunding fundraising platform to help support and subsidize students' tuition for this online Math Institute program as well.
That's great. I threw the whole crowd fundraising. It's an Indiegogo campaign, folks. I put the link into the live chat, but I'm also going to have it in the show notes so you can go and support this, because that's a great way to get people to have, who want to help. You've given them a platform to help.
Yes. Definitely. I'm super excited because I think there's so much energy and synergy around what has happened in the pandemic in terms of looking at the disparities we see in our education sector. So I'm really excited. If you all can support, that would be great, because we're looking to really support 40 students who have low income backgrounds or students who attend public schools. So that would be great. And then really quick, other plugs that we have done is actually contract our services out to schools. So schools typically pay for our services. Because of the pandemic, we actually switched where we're also providing help and support with grant applications. So we're helping schools find grants that really can help support our program. We get those grants and then they pay us through that too, so that there's no hurdle setbacks or obstacles that they face when getting that.
I love that. Keep it simple for them.
Yes.
Help them out, work the system so that you can get paid. That is terrific. And when you say, do you have a team yet, or are they freelancers, subcontractors? How do you deliver all of this?
Yeah, so right now I do kind of sort of have a team. There are people who are like, once Systemic Flow has more ground, that I'm going to tap into their resources, because one specifically has a background in impact investing, and I'm like, we need to get there somehow, some way, some form. But right now we do, again, have a team of interns currently, and some contractors who help support our program.
Great. And folks, even if it's a couple of hours a week, do your best to not go it alone. Make sure that you've got some people in the wings that you can delegate to. You. First of all, you need to build those chops, right? But if you really want to build your business, you got to have a team, even if it's just a few hours a week supporting you in any area of the business. So congratulations on that, Jessica.
I could not agree with you more. In the beginning for Systemic Flow, I was the one running the program, going to the schools, teaching the math classes, and having to figure out the future of Systemic Flow. Too much. And I'm just happy that we've been able to, over time, find teammates and find people who understand the value of Systemic Flow and bring that within their community as well.
Just aside for a second, because I forgot to mention in the beginning, your background is gorgeous today.
You like it?
I think that is sensational. Do we need to do a shout out to someone?
Yes, I do. So my best friend, Jane St. Frank, she is an interior designer. And so she's been able to just really quickly do this lovely, I forgot what it's called, all of this in our background. We recently got a photo that didn't actually work out with this, but she has a business called Antique Noir. And she is someone who I think, if you're interested in redesigning your home or your office space, she is someone that you should definitely reach out to. So her Instagram is Antique Noir.
Excellent. And I'll have that in the show notes. I'll get that from Jessica and pop it into the show notes, everyone. So Jessica, is this systemic the one thing you want to do, or do you have a bigger vision? I mean, I've been listening to you, so I'm sure that this is a stepping stone to creating more impact in the world. What's going on
outside of Systemic Flow?
Yeah. Do you have some other bigger dreams that because many founders have things in the pipeline that they love to sort of percolate on. Do you have some of that?
I sure do. Thinking about, so I have my own personal website, jessicasanon.com. And throughout my journey with Systemic Flow, I realized that I love strategic management and operation management. And so I do some career coaching and some business development. And then I also do some speaking engagements on anything ranging from my story as a founder to resume building. So that's one thing that's currently in the pipeline. Another one is a technology platform. This is future tense, where it's similar to a LinkedIn, and it's just to help bridge the gap between finding board members. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's terrific. I love that idea, because there are people who want to give back. Life is a little easier. They just feel a calling to a specific category in their life, or social justice impact in their life. And then to be able to combine that. I love that. Hans, what do you mean me? You need your background redone? for the room raider?
That's one of my friends as well. So he's probably asking for a shout out. You'll be all right.
Oh, good, good, good. We'll do it. Put your business into the YouTube comments there, Hans. And
Yeah.
Christina, I agree. I think Jessica is sharing so many important insights that are transferable to anybody growing a business. All the learning gems that you've shared so far, Jessica, I know people can say, ooh, that's okay then if this is going to take a little longer. Look how she got through COVID. Look how she did these accelerator programs. Look how she figured out, not the principals, the teachers, how to have gone sooner, having these conversations. And one of my favorite parts of your business is this right here. I think this is phenomenal, right, Christina? So, we can, have these kind of experiences where in the case for Jessica and systemic flow, conversations so people can make the connections and connect the dots, in this case the students, because they see someone who is sharing their story, right? I love that. So let's talk about, you've been at this since 2017. So you've got your founder journey, and I know there are no bad days for you. There are long days for you. Exactly. So I'd love to know, because mindset hacks are how we stay focused, founders, throughout this period of time. We have to find ways to change the story that we're telling ourselves and change our perception. So I always love to find out from each founder, how did they, along the way on this founder journey, find a way to get through the night, to sleep through the night, to get through the longer days. It is founder journey advice time. Jessica, share.
Yeah, one thing is, when I wake up from those long days, I think about that one person that we can make an impact on, whoever that one person is. If one person decides to sign up for our event, that is good enough for me. If I can wake up the next day and know that I'm making a difference in someone's life, that is it for me. And so really, again, when Ande mentioned, it's, you have to have that passion. You also have to feel that sense of accountability, right? It's not for me that I'm doing this, it's for them. And what are they going to get out of it? And so.
That's beautiful, everybody. I'm feeling it right here. Stitch that on a pillow immediately, which is, it's not what I'm going to get out of it. What are they getting out of it? What's in it for them? Whoo! Thank you so much.
And
go ahead.
And I also wanted to, now I left because you gassed me up just a little bit, Ande.
No, that's okay. Listen, I have to take notes myself to remember what was I thinking, because I get so excited hearing a guest conversation. But also, as one embarks on the entrepreneurial journey, and everybody, it is the best personal and professional development program out there. Starting a business, no matter what happens, you do not fail at all. You get to tap into sides of yourself you never knew were there. You get to find and develop skills. I want to find out from you, Jessica, what has this entrepreneurial journey been like for you, and how has it changed you and helped you and enhanced you both personally and professionally?
Yeah, I didn't think I had what it took to be a business owner or, a leader. People have this perception of introverts and extroverts. I'm an introvert. I get off energy off of myself. And so I thought that as a business owner, I needed to be out in the world speaking to 1,000,001 people. And I knew that's not how I got my energy. But I realized over time that I have a lot of good things to say, that I have a lot of good things, a good amount of skills that I need to show to the world. So why not? And so this journey as a business owner, trust me, has tackled so much professional growth within me that I had to accept. So every single day, I kid you not, Ande, whenever I'm on this kind of show or I'm doing a My STEM story show, my heart pumps because I'm so nervous. But at the same time, it's that fear that's slowly moving away, right? It's right. That excitement. It's me going in there. And so I've been able to just, I can't pinpoint one thing. I just know that I've been able to challenge myself every single day with either my marketing skills, my public speaking skills, my writing skills, having to build relationships with folks. I kid you not, those are stuff that I thought I didn't have in me, but I'm hearing from folks, and I'm even hearing it from my own self, that I have what it takes.
Yes, you do. I've seen you in action, and boy, what a gift that is, right? So when you do launch that business, you're going to get that back, no matter what happens, whether the business succeeds or not, you have succeeded. And Jessica, congratulations on building those muscles inside of you so that, because of your passion, because of your love of what you're doing, but more importantly, because it's about them who you are serving. Now you want to get them the information, that you're willing to confront your fears, because folks, it's not easy to get up in front of a group of folks, especially if you're an introvert, all that energy, everybody looking at you. It's, but
I was going to say, I'm not going to lie. When I first met Ande at the Founders Live, I'm like, she has so much energy. How am I going to keep up with her? I needed to take 2 days of rest time because it was just a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I'm a flotation device, folks. It's just part of the old nature I was born with. But anyway, so Jonathan, clearly a relation, inspirational. Jessica is inspirational. I agree 100%. And, we feel your passion in what you're doing. I'm so jazzed up and excited about what you're doing. I have like a new lens that I'm looking at now through understanding from what you've shared about systemic flow and where you're taking it, the problem that you are solving, and the lived experience that you had that brought that awareness to you, that you're looking around the room going, wow, I am almost going to drop math, even though I love it so much. And so that, folks, sometimes that's what happens. It's that adversity in our life that makes us deeply empathetic and aware of a problem that needs solving. And many businesses get launched for that reason. And I also want you to take away about all the things that Jessica has done to help her business succeed. Right. So, keeping things on the lean machine and looking for grants and getting accelerators, because when you're an accelerator, you're going to have mentors, you're going to get new eyes that are looking at your business and come up with suggestions that you're like, yeah, and you go running off. Is there one suggestion that stands out over the last 3 years that you thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I would have seen that?
Oh my goodness. It goes back to the E for All, my mentor, Umama.
Oh, Umama. Oh, I always call her. I remember. Oh, mom. I always go OH-mama.
I love
it.
She, in the back of my head, she always says, your business is not your baby, right? It comes from a place of passion, but there's going to be a time where you need to know what the long-term goal of systemic flow is. And so in the beginning of systemic flow, again, it was just the program idea. It wasn't something that I thought to be a business. And I think, again, just having people in your corner, your mentors who can push you further and push you ahead to say, what does your business look like in 5 years? What does it look like in 10 years? What do you mean that's too much money? No, it's not. If that's how much it costs, then you tell people that's how much it costs. And then you tell them why, it's structured like that. So again, if there's one thing that I learned, or any suggestions, is just to have mentors in your background, in your back, in your corner. I will also add that there's going to be a level of friction with what you want on a personal level versus what your business needs. I mentioned in the beginning, we did not have a social media outlet for systemic flow. And that's because I wasn't personally on social media. Again, I didn't want to put myself out there. And I knew if I put systemic flow out there, then I would also be out there. And so I had to remove that layer of uncomfortability from a personal perspective to know that my business can only flourish if we create X amount of channels so that we can build those authentic relationships within our community.
Okay, that was so good. I'll be using that as the clip, everyone, for the show. Thank you very much for that. Oh my gosh, Jessica, you have become very wise from this whole process. So you've got this captive audience. How can we support you? Open doors, add wind to the systemic sails. While you're talking, I'll pop up some more of the wonderful images about your business and how you're doing things. Please share.
If anyone who is interested, we're looking for folks who can come in and talk on our My STEM Story channel. So if you know anyone who wants to share their story in their STEM journey, feel free to reach out to me so we can get that coordinated and go, so we can spark more interest in young students' hearts. Other things too, again, as I mentioned, we are launching the second year of an online Math Institute program, and we're looking for folks to sponsor students. And so if you can sponsor them, that would be great through our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. And then the last thing I would say is we're also looking for board advisors. So if someone has a strategic management background specifically, we would love to work with you to figure out what the future of systemic flow could look like. I have some ideas, but it would be great to bounce back those kinds of ideas too. And last but not least, just follow us on our social media to just get the latest updates for systemic flow.
I know I had a good one there too. Hey, everyone, did you just hear Jessica's call to actions? Okay, boom, 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 boom. Have those memorized always. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to let the world know how we can help. And Jessica has no idea who's out there that's going to go, me, I want to be a mentor, or me, I want to be an advisor, or me, I know somebody, that has a passion toward this, would love to tell their story. I've got 3 people already for you.
Andy. Bring them over.
Absolutely. And so, that's what you always need to be prepared to do. It's not just, I'm raising $1 million. Can you help? No, think functionally about your business and how folks can help you grow. That was an excellent, outstanding example of using CTAs, as we like to say, calls to action. Jessica, I am so happy, first of all, just to know you.
Yeah,
it's just such a gift, and to have watched you and grow and see how you have chosen to up your founder game so that you can serve your best business better, and as a result serve the folks in the world and have the impact that you want to have. So thank you for taking time out to do that and make that happen. And then, and doing such a great job with your business. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your deliciousness with everybody. And I'm just so grateful. I'm going to pop you into the green room as I say my final bye-byes to folks. So
to say thank you so much, Andy, for reaching out. Imagine if I didn't apply to Founders Live, I don't think I would be here today. So thank you for just reaching out and for allowing me to share my story on the platform. And thank you all for being here and taking the time to support.
Let's just give everybody, there she is. Hi, Jessica. Oh my gosh. I just think that is amazing. Thank you for being such an outstanding founder. And those of you tuning in live and later, thank you so much for carving out that time to up your founder game, to hear another founder's stories, because you will have ahas. Dots will start connecting. Maybe not right now. Maybe when you're taking a shower, because that water has that ion and something happens and great ideas come in to play during those times. But I am truly grateful that you're here and part of the Startup Life Live community. It means the world to me that you carved out the time. Let me tell you about who's coming on next, because it's, I'm here every Tuesday and Fridays, 1 p.m. EST. And on Friday, March 12th at 1 p.m. EST, it's Olgi Sangalo, and he is sharing how his startup is innovating the athletic footwear industry with a heelless technology. Oh my gosh. We're going to learn a lot, because here's what happened. In his startup story, he is working with a dream of his dad's, which was that his dad came up with this idea 20 years ago, but stopped everything to raise his family. So the family chipped in all this money and said to Olgi, you go to China, you hang out there, figure out the prototype, figure out the manufacturing, and he's going to tell some incredible stories. And now, of course, what it's like to be launching a product in the, bringing an innovative product to a very saturated market, which is the athletic footwear market. So just mark your calendars there, and to stay and up on all the shows and get alerts for whenever I go live, please join the Startup Life Live meetup group. Got a QR code there, or you just hop onto that bit.ly link, Startup Life, all caps live, to find out when I'm having the next show, so you can find out more information from another founder, which is so important. But until then, I just want to know you to know that I believe in you. And I'm just going to share a few words of wisdom here. Please remember, you're braver than you believe. Jessica talked about that. You're stronger than you seem. And smarter. Oh, yeah, you're smarter than you think. You've got this, everybody. I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks again for tuning in and cheering on Jessica Sanon and Systemic Flow. Mwah! See you next time.